spend years looking for yourself in places that were never capable of telling you who you are. At the bottom of a bottle, at the end of a joint, searching through text and scripture, trying to find some sentence that finally makes everything make sense. Something that tells you who you are, why you're here, where you're supposed to go next. And maybe for a while, you thought you were finding answers. But eventually, the bottle empties. The smoke clears. You close the book. And you're still sitting there with the same question. Who am I? Maybe you thought if you could just quiet your mind long enough, the answer would come. So you drank, you smoked, you escaped. Not always because you wanted to disappear. Sometimes you just wanted the noise to stop. Sometimes you wanted a few hours where you didn't have to carry everything you've been carrying. And when that stopped working, you searched somewhere else. You started looking for meaning. You read, you studied, you searched through scripture. You listened to people who seemed certain about things you've spent your whole life questioning. You kept searching for something that felt true, something that felt like you. But knowing the words and living the truth are two different things. And eventually you reach a point where you have to ask yourself, where am I actually going? Am I searching? Am I hiding? Or am I just plain lost? Because there is a difference between looking for direction and constantly moving, so you never have to stand still long enough to face yourself. You've walked through the fire, you've suffered, you've survived things you thought would destroy you, you've carried pain you don't talk about, you've watched pieces of your old life fall apart, you've questioned what you believe, you've questioned who you are, you've questioned whether any of this has meaning at all. But if you've already walked through the fire, where is the transformation? Where is the new beginning? Where is the person who is supposed to come out the other side? Maybe that's what you've misunderstood. Surviving the fire doesn't automatically transform you. Pain can change your circumstances without changing you. You can suffer and still repeat the same patterns. You can read every book and still refuse to live what you've learned. You can know scripture and still be afraid to ask what you truly believe. You can understand everything that happened to you and still wake up tomorrow living exactly the same way. Because transformation doesn't happen simply because you suffered. Transformation begins when you decide what the suffering will become. Maybe the fire wasn't there to give you an identity. Maybe it stripped away the identities that were never yours. The person you thought you had to be, the expectations you carried, the beliefs you inherited without questioning, the things you used to numb yourself, the things you used to define yourself, until eventually you're standing there without all the answers. And for the first time, you have to decide what you actually believe. That's frightening, because it's easier when someone else gives you the answer. It's easier when the bottle makes you forget the question. It's easier when the smoke makes everything feel distant. It's easier when someone else's words tell you exactly who you're supposed to become. But eventually, you have to live. You have to choose. You have to take everything you've learned, everything you've survived, everything you've questioned, and do something with it. That's where the transformation begins. Not when you finally understand everything. When you stop waiting to understand everything before you move. You don't need to know where the entire road leads. You need to know what your next honest step is. Maybe it's putting down something you've been using to hide. Maybe it's finally facing something you've been avoiding. Maybe it's returning to your faith with questions instead of pretending you don't have them. Maybe it's admitting that the life you're living doesn't feel like yours anymore. Maybe it's waking up tomorrow and doing one thing differently. One decision, one boundary, one conversation, one promise you finally keep to yourself. Because a new beginning doesn't always look like a completely different life. Sometimes it looks like one different decision, and then another, and another, until the person you kept searching for starts showing up in the way you live. You have searched long enough to know that another escape isn't going to give you what you're looking for. You've suffered long enough to know that pain by itself isn't transformation. And you've learned enough to know that wisdom means nothing if it never becomes action. So stop waiting for some perfect revelation to tell you the journey has begun. It already has. The question now is what you're going to do with it. Take what the fire taught you. Take the questions that survived it. Take the truths that still feel real when everything else becomes quiet, and build from there. You don't have to have your entire life figured out tonight. But before this day ends, make one decision that the person you're becoming would make. Then wake up tomorrow and give that person another piece of your life. Because maybe you were never meant to find yourself at the end of all this searching. Maybe you were meant to become someone you could only meet by walking forward. The road may still be unclear. Walk it anyway. The new beginning isn't something you're going to find. It's something you choose.